So let's have a look if everything is working. If this one is going to be in focus. Happy New Year. Paolo, thank you. Thanks for joining. And that's good to hear. So let me have a quick look here. Lana, good evening, Happy New Year. They always kind of feel longer than they are. At least that's kind of my idea sometimes. Especially, I don't know who of you has kids, but especially, you know, when you have kids that are around for 14 days in a row, non-stop. Janina, good evening, and thanks for joining. Happy New Year. So for this live stream, I had a request, some requests, but kind of the first one was my Phthalo Cyan PB17. But I'm not going to start with that. I think I already made it during a live. Thank you very much. If you are in need for more, Janina, please let me know. I think that is kind of the best solution for it. What I do want to start with is PR287, or for those of you who know the pigment index numbers, Mayan red, genuine Mayan red. I recently acquired a quite large amount of it, but this is something I already had, so I'm going to start with this. So we're going to start with that and a little bit of binder and the tools that we need. And I'm going to get some pens as well. How is everyone? Just, you know, to start with that. Cochineal red. No, yeah, I have it. But I try to, as much as possible, I'll try to offer paint that is kind of as light fast as it can be. And I know this Mayan red isn't as light fast as other reds. But cochineal, I don't know, it's carmine is a beautiful color, but maybe in a historic range or something like that. In the future, I'll add it, or I offer it in a small amount, but it's not something that I would say I need in my line of paint, I think. Mark, good evening, or at least for me, good evening. Thanks for joining. I have that little, I have cochineal, carmine, but I have a little set of London pigment as well, where you have the dehydrated bugs and some different versions, like pinkish, reddish, violet. Yeah, exactly, Lana. To come back to that of Janina, she thought about maybe cutting it up, since she didn't know what to do with it, and I thought, would like individual pens also be an option, so you can maybe hand them out, or so we kind of decided to do that. But like I said, Janina, if you're in need for more, let me know. So let's have a look. Is it working? Yeah, it is working. Okay. Well, the giant pen is still here. Maybe I can do something, if there's someone in need of a large amount of a granulating, separating grayish blue with a yellow undertone, let me know. There's quite a lot of it. This is, by the way, this is something I started as a spare one, in case the other one didn't dry properly, but this is the size of the pen. I can probably better do it like this, since that one is just a webcam. Okay, let's get started. Sorry about that. Thanks, Paolo. So I had a question from someone on Etsy who asked if my Mayan red was rewettable, like from the pen, and how smooth it painted out. And oh, I want to know more about that, Janina. I never tried this. I had this in my collection, and I never made paint out of it yet. So I made paint out of it, and it swatched out beautifully. I think I don't have the swatch here, but it swatched out beautifully, and smooth, a little bit of drying shift, but still even smooth red. I had some pens, dot pens, and these as well, re-wetted beautifully from the pen, and painted out smooth and beautifully. So I asked, why that specific question about Mayan red and re-wetting, and more importantly, painting out smoothly. So that person showed me a swatch of Mayan red from another brand, a commercial brand, a big brand. And it was a world of difference. If you have a Mayan red from a commercial brand, you might know the one I'm talking about. If you do, please let me know if you experience that same kind of, it's not smudgy, but it's streaks. I think that's the proper word for it. I think you know which brand, yeah. The naming, I'm just, I'm letting you guys do that. I won't be responsible for it. Is the microphone for the slab working well? Thanks, Paolo. Yeah, especially the streaky part. That was the most important part. That person said that they didn't mind waiting a little bit longer for it to re-wet, but it was mostly the streaking that bothered them a lot. And when they showed me the swatch, I never thought, you know, that would be such a difference. Because I think, at least for most Maya pigments out there, they all come from the same factory, apart from the, you know, the handmade blue ones. It is. I can't think of the name of the clay, but it is. It's a clay that is very unique, since it's more like nanotubes. So that's why the indigo dye is so much more light fast, since it kind of goes into those tubes of clay. But I heard that there's kind of a guess, a kind of an estimate, a scientific one though, of what was used, but they still haven't fully figured out like the real secret behind Maya Blue. Yeah, but they use the word genuine quite often, you know. About this Mayan red, I mean, it has the pigment number, but I'm going to compare it to the other one I have, because there's like some white specks here. I don't know if you saw that during the wetting of the pigment. That's kind of the clay, but I'm going to have a look if the other one has that as well. That's weird. Then, you know, call it a genuine hue or something like that. For everyone watching, by the way, if you do like the live stream, or, you know, chatting with each other again, please like the stream so it gets shared a little bit more on YouTube. If you want to, of course. Thanks, Paolo. And thanks, Mark. There's a lot of lives already on my YouTube channel. Maybe you've seen them. I know you would like that, Paolo. Appreciate it. The thing with this pigment is it sounds, hopefully for you as well, but it feels chalky, which, you know, would kind of be obvious. But this isn't something you would hear from any other red pigment that isn't a PR 101 or 102. Not an iron oxide. So let's grab some empty pens and change the white balance a bit of that camera, since it kind of bothers me. Can we do it like that? Make me a little bit smaller. Let's have a look. PR287 over there. Freshly printed pens for this better camera. This. This is the Mayan red. So this is PR287. It is really red. It's kind of a desaturated red over here, which kind of tells a bit about the amount of chalk in it, or whatever was used for this pigment. With this one, like I said, I saw like tiny white specks. I don't know if they used filler, because the largest amount of paint for this that I made were these 2 dots, just to try if it was streaky while swatching. Thanks, Lana. I kind of had to look for some improvements over the last live stream, since I couldn't do the picture-in-picture thing. Still kind of figuring it out, since I'm streaming from my laptop, but I'm using my phone as a camera and a webcam as a camera, and I'm using the audio connected to my phone with 2 microphones that is streaming to my laptop as well, which is, well, for a reason. I didn't want to like connect to the laptop directly, the audio, which is weird. Let me have a look. I'm really sorry for this, but I'm using cheap swatching paper, since this is like no official swatch I'm doing. It's just to see if there's like any specks or anything here, and since it's late here, I don't want to mess up good quality watercolor paper. But this is just for me to see if how the paint flows. And setups can be very individual, personal, I don't know. That looks like a good one. You immediately see that it kind of loses chroma and intensity. It's absorbing it, and usually this isn't a very high quality paper, but the vibrancy of the paints usually is quite good on this one. But yeah, I agree, cotton paper, cold press, 300 grams. Yeah. Not streaky at all. So this is good. Hey, watercolorists. You know, and just because we have the tools, why not check how fine this pigment actually mills? Since as a paint, it swatches out beautifully. But as you can see, I don't know, can you see? Probably. I'll zoom in a little bit closer. Or I'm just going to show you a little bit closer. Giefel, welcome. Hey, watercolorist, welcome. Happy New Year, everyone. So as you can see over here, there's some streaks. There's some like tiny roughness in there as well, still. Hopefully you can see. And it doesn't measure as fine as it feels, which is also kind of weird, but that does match the sound it makes while mulling it. So it all makes sense in the end, but with things like this, I don't want to go as fine as possible or going on for too long, since when I'm going to look at the swatch, especially this straight one over here, there's not a single pigment grain or anything visible on the paper. I'm going to let the rest dry. So how is everyone who is just joining, but also those of you who have joined before and haven't shared how they are? Hope everyone's doing well, or as well as can be. In the meantime, I'm just going to fill these pens to about a third. Since it's already quite thick, it's going to shrink a lot, I think. This is, oh, spilling here, PR287 Mayan Red. And I'm going to just do a batch here, and I'm going to compare, what I've made here with the other Mayan Red I have. On the eye, it looks like exactly the same pigment, but I'm going to test it out. And if the other one turns out to be a little bit better, or more vibrant, or you name it. I'm just going to throw this in as a kind of a try-out goodie for anyone who makes an order or anyone who wants to try. Tracy, welcome, Happy New Year. It has quite a large drying shift. Yes, absolutely. I think this is the most kind of intense you can get the red here, but it's Mayan red. Don't expect any like pyrrole red brightness from a pigment like this. As far as I know, it's part of that process. But as we know from Mayan blue, which has indigo as a component, I don't know what they've used for this, the red. I don't know if it's a chemical process or if it was a natural dye. If anyone can kind of answer that, or if anyone has more knowledge of it, please share. There is a patent, yes, but the company that made it stopped making it in 2021. Yeah, maybe pyrrole red was kind of an extreme example, but it swatches out when I'm looking at it like this. It reminds me of a PV19, which I have from Sennelier. And unfortunately that pigment has filler in it. I know for quite certain, although it's not on the label, but for a PV19, that's yeah, the handling properties of it as a pigment kind of give away that it's not pure pigment, at least not as pure as it can be. Well, you know, the Mayan blue, about Daniel Smith. Oh, I said it. I think people are remaking it. I'm not so sure about the red and the yellow and the orange though, and the violet. There was a Mayan violet as well. Not so sure about those, but I know that Crema Pigmenta has a range of Mayan blues, greens, and everything in betweens. So I'm not sure about the patent, if that is like a specific thing for the reds and the others, or that like the different blues that are being sold right now are all different takes on it. Did they stop as well? Stop making or stop selling? Did they make them themselves? Corpse Starch, you welcome back. Happy New Year. I'm kind of in doubt. This is too much paint to throw away, but too little to use for a new pen. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. There we go. That's interesting. Ooh, spill the tea, Paolo. No, not at all. I'm just going to give Kramer a call after, well, next week. Most companies are kind of up and running again next week. Maybe they are already, but I know I'm not. So next week I'll give them a call. I'm going to ask about it. Sorry about this for that microphone. So you might want to kind of turn your sound down because I think this is really annoying. But I want to tap most of the bubbles out. It's annoying for me as well. Okay. That was annoying. I know I have wire Rex, but I can appreciate what is being said in the chat. Well, you can always, you know, quit your job and start making paint. I don't know where I got that idea. No, it's not about pigments. Now it's about you, Paolo. It's too late now. I'm just background noise. Okay, so for the next pigment, I took a pigment, and I'm not sure I have pens for it. If I don't have pens for it, I'm not even going to tell you which pigment I took. Back to the chat. Wait, Corpse Starch, did you ask me when my shop is reopening? I'm sorry, I'm kind of missing. If I don't answer it and I missed it, ask again. Hopefully, I can do a lot of things next week. Can start a lot of things, finish some other things, and I'll reopen later in January. I'm sorry, I missed that, Corpse Sarge. That's what I'm aiming for. So 3rd week January, kind of, is what I'm aiming for, but I don't know if I'm going to make that. So if I will, or in case I won't, or in any case, I'm going to let everyone know through every channel what I'm going to do. I have a list. That's a massive list of pigments that I want to add. I'm not sure in what kind of time frame I can gradually add them to my shop. I won't be able to add them all at once. But if there's anything you're missing or you want to see, let me know. I think I'm thinking about adding cadmiums as well, since I know there's kind of a demand for them. But then again, I also know that people kind of want to avoid them or replace them. And most of the replacements I already offer. So that's something I'm thinking about. I'm going to add Cobalt Violet, PV14. I'm going to add Mayan Red, Paradine Black, PBK32, PV62, PB10 on Mark. Yes and no. I got a sample. I don't trust it's PB10. Or I had a sample. Yeah, it's in the range of dye pigments, mostly used, or it was mostly used in toners and things like that. But so was PB17 in a version of it. Which ones as well? Which one? I'm just going to have a look if I have the pen. I don't have the pen. I'm going to just show you what I had. It's bismuth orange, PO86. PY180. I don't have that one. The other ones I do. I don't have PY180. I think. Now you're letting me check this. Or you're letting me check my pigments. I don't want to check my pigments now. But I'm already doing it. PY181. I do have. P1 180. I don't. I can quickly check which pigments I had in mind for, since I'm already in my list, in my file of pigments here. Let's have a look which ones I had in the list of pigments, if I can find it. I think it's a different file, but here I have something that looks like it. Yes. Okay, so I have natural indigo. I'm thinking about it. Don't know. It's kind of a, like that niche within a niche within a niche thing. I don't like it. It smells bad. But so does dragon's blood. But, you know, yeah. And your reaction, oh, indigo. So I might want to add that. Maybe a cobalt blue, Egyptian blue, smalt, things like that. Some cobalts. Thinking about genuine sap green, the natural one. Maybe PG8, like the hooker's green, sap green, discontinued version. Lana, have a nice evening. Thanks for joining. If you have any suggestions, Lana, let me know as well. Let's have a look. The violets already shared with you. Thinking of maybe an iron oxide yellow. So maybe that. And maybe I wanna add a white titanium or zinc white. I don't know. Maybe a white to it. NG2 for sap green, the buckthorn berry pigment, that is. But I made it in a live once. So iron oxide yellow, or a warm yellow, or something in that kind of range. Think about it. And the cadmiums. So that's PY35, PO20, and PR108 as a yellow, orange, and red. I might want to consider making those. If I'm going to offer indigo, why not cadmiums? I know they're not comparable, but looking at what I said before, I think there's demand for it. Janina, it's hard to gather. There's dust in, when you clean these cloths and everything, there's dust in it as well. So I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm going to do it. There is cadmium green if you look it up online, but it doesn't exist. It's cadmium yellow mixed with a blue. So there's not a pure cadmium green pigment. I think it does have a pigment number, I think. A pigment index number as a mix. I don't know which kind of buckthorn NG2 is made of, but NG8, let me have a look. NG8, I still have my list open here. And it doesn't ring a bell, to be honest, but it's PG, NG2. I only have NG2. NG8 I don't have in. Oh, I don't think I can find it actually. Yeah, but PG14 as cadmium green, it's always a mixture. Like there's no pure green cadmium, and I think it was a mixture with. Let me look that up for you. Yeah, okay, so artistcreation.com. Had to do it. Thank you very much. Corpse search. Yeah, of course you're quicker. I mean, I'm like my screen is over there. Yes, thank you. It's a fused pigment, so it's not just a cadmium yellow and a cobalt blue shaken, not stirred, and then you have green. So it's a fused pigment. How to do it, I don't know. I think there's someone here who can tell us, might be able to tell us, but yeah. What are we going to make? You distracted me, guys. It's a good thing though I know, where everything is, since that blue light isn't helping me with the colors. Thank you very much, Paolo. So this is basically why I, host these live streams, so Paolo can teach us things. kind of dried up, or at least that's not enough of that. Just for the fun of it, I can also make dirty blue here. Let's have a look if I... PG-15. Why do you need chrome green? For a project. Ooh. Are you in need of any? I don't know if you can acquire it. Probably you can, by the way. No, this was this is a pre-mixed bottle of dirty blue, or bottle jar. Yeah. I know I have PG-15, or else I wouldn't offer it. I don't know how much of it I have, but let me have a look. Don't know if I... Oh, no, never mind. It's in my toxic pigment cupboard. Yes, it's in my toxic pigment cupboard. I can appreciate the humor here. There's like my camera isn't even going near like underneath what you see here, since there's boxes of pigment on the floor, which I still need to put in my system, categorize, and find a place for, since I ran out of room. So if we were in need of any pigments, we can ask you, Corpse Starch. I wanna just, before you answer it, can you make genuine Turner's yellow? Like the lead thing. Okay, PG-15, let me have a look. I know I have it there. I even know from which brand it was, since that brand doesn't exist anymore. When it comes to pigment categorization, I'm organized enough to know these things and what I have. There's this. Yeah, so we are running in a kind of a problem, and I'm really glad you can't see my screen here, since then you would know which kind of problem I was talking about. It's so funny. It is so funny. What is funny and why am I mumbling? Well, because this is funny. Okay, so let me have a look. PY30, is that the, I'm sorry, is that Turner's Yellow? Since I didn't get as far as looking up the pigment index number. Thanks. And did you manage to make Shields green? I have a bit of it here, and I'll have a lot of Paris green. I really don't know what to do with that. Like, bags full of Paris green. And we don't have rats, so, you know, there's no old-fashioned way of poisoning the rats. I wouldn't. Yeah, I would never kind of think of trying to make it. But those things happen. It's okay. It happens to most of us. All of the time, hopefully. I'm not going to look up chrome green as a swatch or as a pigment online, since what I'm getting is something that I don't trust. I'm going to be really, really honest there. And why don't I trust it? Because what I see, they claim to use NY20 for their Indian yellow as well. And it's always in stock, and it's only €7 for a half pen. NY20 is that bowl of urine, for those of you who don't know. So there are things I trust, and there are things I don't trust. That's one of the things I don't trust. And I've had this a while back with a brand, another handmade paint seller, and I contacted them. Like, I see that. Oh no, I don't want to have that. I have my air filtration system that automatically goes on at 10 o'clock. I contacted another paint maker a while back, since they sold Paris green, and it was like a hue, and it was a little more like earth green, actually, like green earth, PG23, and there's PG21, Paris green. But that was a typo. That was a mistake, and they thanked me for kind of reaching out and noticing. But I was kind of scared that someone actually sold Paris green. Yes, thank you, Corpse Stretch. That, and that with a lot of other things. So there's also people that don't mention any pigment numbers in their mixes, and some of them I kind of try to contact and ask, why don't you just share what you've used, and I don't want people to make what they make. you know, if you know pigments, if you know your paint, if you know your pigments, then you can make a mix just by eyeballing, right? Measuring, eyeballing, writing down. You can replicate about anything. And to your customers, you need to be as transparent as possible from, you know, what goes into your paint. But cornstarch, NY20 making in a lab. Tell me more about it. Oh, NY20, you know, Indian yellow. If you see that on things like eBay, you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for it, since it's from the 1900s, like early 1900s or late 1800s. Gamboge, I wouldn't use it since its toxicity. I have it. It's beautiful. It's very vibrant. It's not very stable, but it's toxic, so I wouldn't use it. Of course it is. Why didn't I think of that? But yes, Paolo. Yes and yes. Would it be comparable, cornstarch, to what ultramarine blue synthetic PB29 is when you compare it with lapis lazuli? Would that be kind of a good comparison? You get that element that gives the, you know, the blue, but the entire being of lapis, you miss that. Like you miss everything the bladder of the cow adds to the NY20. It smells terrible. It really smells terrible. It doesn't smell like urine. It's a terrible smell. I've probably told this before. I have the bowl of Indian yellow, and the smell of it is just look, and I know that. It's a very distinctive smell, and I'm not going to ask what you would do, Paolo, there, but I asked the owner of Cornelissen and Sons in the UK if they could send me a shard or just a smudge of genuine Indian yellow, of their genuine Indian yellow, to check if mine was real, to compare those under the microscope, since I know what I'm looking for under the microscope when it comes to Indian yellow or lapis lazuli, but I know what I was looking for. Under cross-polarized light, it is as distinctive to recognize as the smell. And I got an envelope, very carefully packed, with a tiny Ziploc bag of quite a, well, it's over there, quite a shard of Indian yellow. It's like this big. And when I opened the envelope, and everything was wrapped, like it had the bubble wrap, and it had the Ziploc bag and tape around it, and the envelope was taped as well. But when I opened the envelope, the smell that came out of the envelope, I thought, okay, this is Indian yellow. Everything was closed, like there was still air in the Ziploc bag. And it was airtight, so the air couldn't go out, but still the smell, I don't know, maybe from putting it in, maybe someone had things on their hand while putting it inside the envelope, I don't know, but it's a weird smell. It's not something that you need to have on your bucket list, though, cornstarch. Or maybe you do, by the way. It's like, I would. But there's like 3 pigments that have such a distinctive smell. Indigo, we talked about it. Dragon's Blood and NR31. And Indian Yellow. What shall we make? Shall we just put a little bit of Phthalo cyan on the slab? It's on your bucket. Yeah, I don't blame you. Naphthol pink. Give me pigment numbers, guys. I know a lot of names, but do I have the Rose Madder Genuine by Winsor & Newton? I don't. Or maybe don't give me pigment numbers, because now I just found out that I don't have NR9. Or do I? Wait, the ends are over here. No, I don't. I have NR8. Oh, that's a mix PR6 with PW? What? No. Is NR9 something I should have? Please say no. Ah, okay. Then there's nothing to worry about. I would have worried otherwise, but maybe I can just give Winsor & Newton a call. Bye, Anina. Have a good evening, or whatever's left of it. And thanks for joining. See you soon. This is Phthalo cyan, the non-granulating blue sibling of manganese blue. Sort of two. I know we had the discussion here if this is cyan or if PG50 is more cyan than this is. We talked about it. Now I'm gonna get started on the marketing things of big brands. I don't wanna burst your bubble though. But core are very nice. Are they more pigmented because of the binder? I'll let the chat decide. It's PB17, this is. Yes, Tracy, allegedly the Aquazole can hold more pigment, but that also means more fillers, or more pigment and filler. And really, it's, for me, and like I said before, I don't want to burst your bubble. It's really nice paint, but when I started making paint, I tried Aquazole as a binder, and it wasn't available that easily. Now it kind of is. It's way more expensive though for me still than gum arabic. But for one, I wanted to make paint in a very traditional way, still modern twists, and tweaking it to make it, well, my paint. And yeah, I compared the core ultramarine blue. I compared an ultramarine blue from every brand. And handmade paint just kind of popped out more. The vibrancy, the amount of pigment that is put into handmade paint. In that case, it was my own paint, but I think handmade paint in general is just so much more than commercial big brands. It doesn't make it bad paint at all. It's wonderful, very high quality. And I do like, I mean, Golden as a brand, the acrylics I used, no, I didn't say Aquazole, it was a filler. The acrylics I used at the end of my, during the Art Academy, was Golden acrylics, and I loved the way that they are very transparent about their paint. Some dry up matte, some dry up glossy, because of the pigment that is in it. Same goes for watercolors. When you think you have really nice pans and they are dry, they have dried really nicely, and they're all the same kind of glossiness, there is filler, or there is something in it that does something with the paint. Because I know my Indian Yellow PY153 is very, very glossy, or glossy-ish when it's dry, while yin min blue, cobalt blue, is beautiful, like a matte surface. Same goes for some reds. You have what is a good red? Potter's pink can be a beautiful kind of satin-like matte finish, while a Pyrrole red is shiny as a dry paint. That shine, I didn't change my binder. That's the pigment. And Golden was the first company to, at least as far as I know, to be very transparent about those properties. Corpse has been shattering my rose-colored perception of the paint market world. We haven't even started yet. Oh. I don't know what he told you, but there are things that ain't pretty. Yeah, that's exactly Tracy. The Aquazol can hold more filler as well. So I'm not saying that they do, but I doubt that they can compete price-wise when you have a binder that is more expensive, also in big scale, and add more pigment to your paint, and still have kind of the same price range as the other competing brands. Oh, sorry, Paolo, I need to kind of reread that. Well, it makes sense that by that it could hold more pigment. At least in my head, it makes sense. But like I said, for business, I doubt that's the only two things they would add. Ooh, how beginning to stutter here, Corpse Starch. How did I come out of that test? Hobby paint. Well, speaking of fillers, and dyes, and stuff like that. Oh, that's funny. To combat, wait, so getting distracted here. Paolo, there are paint makers that make it clear that they add fillers and extenders. Yeah, I know that absolutely are. But the amounts of it, like how much filler is used, extenders or brighteners, and brighteners actually have a very good reason, and I have been in doubt whether to use this or not, and I don't know if Mark is still here, but we talked about this the other day. There are pigments that have such a high drying shift that almost all commercial brands add brightener to kind of counteract that high drying shift. And I've been thinking about doing the same, especially when it came to dioxazine violet, PV23. I was so disappointed when I first used that, when I made it myself, as opposed to when I used it from a brand that I bought before. I thought something wrong with the pigment. It's like the most deep, almost black, deep, beautiful violet on the slab. And when you just go over it with your muller and you see that transparency shining through, it's almost a fluorescent violet. And the mass tone is near black. And we swatch it, it's beautiful, deep violet, and then it dries and it's gray. It's not gray, but you know what I mean. It's a great mixer. It's a beautiful pigment, if you know that. But I was used I used PV23 as an acrylic quite a lot for a project. Very transparent, but a beautiful deep violet. Mix it with a little bit of white, and you have like a vibrant violet. But an acrylic is something completely different. So just looking at that pigment number and thinking about a color, it wasn't the first time I had that, but that drying shift, that amount of drying shift, I was really shocked by it at first. I don't know at the top of my head. It's on a list in a PDF document I have on my computer, but there's probably someone who can tell or look it up. Yeah, but ultramarine blue is used a lot for that. PB29, for instance. At least in the white ones. It's funny, I was speaking to someone a few weeks ago. Don't know I have a video of that yet. I need to do a video of that. Anyway, I was speaking to someone a few weeks ago, a pigment manufacturer, and we were talking about the prices of pigments. They have gone up terribly. Like, compared to 2 years ago, I actually need to double my prices when I compare it to that. But I won't do that just yet. They said ultramarine blue is one of the most common pigments, but not for the art industry, but for things like laundry, detergent. What was it called? Detergents. And it has no quality control whatsoever. Is it blue enough? Yeah, kind of. Made in batches we can't even dream of, and it is used for that. There's no consistency. It's all kind of the same blue, but it's like every batch can differ a little bit. And I didn't know it was used in, like, it's not very practical to use when you think of the car industry, ultramarine blue for instance, because you can make a blue that is very similar in a coating with phthalo, which is more stable, far more tinting. A little goes a long way, and you know, it can hold temperatures. It is more stable in other places. Like, they're not buying blue cars. There are blue cars, but you know, any coating, plastics, you name it. There's no ultramarine used for that. If it comes in contact with acid or an acid, you need to alter the ultramarine pigment, which is an extra step and more expensive. So it's not practical as a pigment for other things, at least not as far as I know. And all metallic versions of those colors. I think we are pretty close here, by the way. This is a pigment, I can add water to it. It just stays sticky. It always stays sticky. The water will eventually evaporate. It's kind of like making an emulsion. Like making, I don't know, something like mayonnaise or something. You can add an enormous amount of liquid to this, and it seems to get more sticky and stiffer when you properly mix it in. And when it dries, then it shrinks even more, since the water amount in it, content in it, is so high. It shrinks so much that it breaks, and then you think, I need to add more binder, which I already did. So this is kind of a tricky one though, but this is the right one. Oh, there we go. That's why my PB17 needs to dry for a longer time. That's why I have a jar of it. There was still a bit in it, just a tiny amount. Yeah, but plastics they use quinacridones when it comes to you know, the pinks, benzy yellow, phthalos when it comes to blues and greens, and perylene green as a coating. I think that would kind of turn out to be more black than green if you use it in a coating. What about, you know, when you make a car ultramarine blue, kind of do a white coating first, maybe a cold pressed coating, so you have the granulation effect on your car a little bit better. Well, not enough pigment on my brush. And there we go. That wasn't straight at all, but yeah, but the PBK 31 is used because it not be, you know, the visual visibility, but the radar visibility, right? Or am I saying weird stuff now? I think I'm right. This is a pretty, very vibrant. I don't know if the camera here does it kind of justice. Can I have a look if this changes anything here? No. In infrared, there you go. It disappears in infrared. That's interesting because no, but night vision is, right? Yeah. I took out my, I don't know, 2007, 8-ish Sony webcam with a big infrared kind of beamer on it to check if Egyptian blue did the same, because, you know, Egyptian blue reflects infrared in a different way than other blues do, at least back then. And it kind of does, but the circumstances where I tried weren't ideal. The swatches weren't ideal, and the battery was almost empty when I tried to do it. But that's a good one to test. Yeah, you can look it up. I wanted to make a video on it when I did my Egyptian blue, but then I thought I'm just going to do music, since I already used a different camera angle for that video. Look it up if you haven't seen it yet. I thought, you know, let's just do music. It's a very old pigment. I don't want to do, you know, I've been almost talking for 80 minutes already here, right now during the live, and there's still people watching. I don't want to be that guy who only speaks. Well, that's not true. I need to do voiceovers for some things, but that was a pigment. I thought, you know, let's just do it in text. It doesn't need a voiceover. Then I made a version of a voiceover with a voiceover, but I didn't post it, since I thought, you know, that music alone, I like it. I like that style. People who see that video for the first time, visit my channel for the first time and see that video for the first time and don't read what's underneath it, have no idea what I'm making or why it's special. They just see gritty blue powder come out of a bottle and be kind of mold or grind into a honey-like substance and, you know, put on a piece of paper. They have no idea what I'm doing. But I like the video with just music, so it works for me. the amount of work that what involves. Listening to yourself. I know it's very, very tiring sometimes. And I don't think I've said it to you. Hallie, Hill. I know I had it right last time, but Happy New Year. I think I'm gonna call it a day. I can make a new paint, but I don't think that's a good idea. Hill, yeah. Do I make PB74? Mark. Yes, and that was on my list. No, well, no, let me just say it like that. No, not yet. But it is on my list to add to my shop as well over time. So I have like a list. This is a list, I think, of 30 pigments that I still want to add to my line of paint. It was nice meeting you too, and I really need to persimmon muffins. One subject at a time. This is like, it's already 10:30, 10:30, 45 almost. Here in the evening, I need to do one thing at a time. PB74 is on my list. I have it in my studio, but I'm not sure in what kind of order and how many pigments I'm going to add to my next shop update. Like I said, I named a few. I'm going to add those. Not sure about indigo yet, since I need to think about, you know, the comfort in my studio as well, and indigo, if I need to make that in on a larger scale, it's not something that I would enjoy. PB76, I have that corpse starch. Nice try. But I don't think it is too much. There's enough difference of it with PB 16 something, 16 I think, PB 16, is that it? I think it is. I really want to have lunch as well now, Mark. It is like this time that you're hungry again. That's not good. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining, everyone. before I start, you know, mumbling about food and other things, I'm going to clean up here, and I'm going to check where my chrome green is. I'm going to swatch that, and I'm going to see if it is anything close to something that is called PG15 on the internet. Next time, and I wanted to talk about that today, but I kind of forgot, and there were so many interesting things coming up. Next time I'm going to talk about lapis lazuli, my own version, Fra Angelico Blue, and a version that is sold, and a little bit of experimenting by me with the microscope that I have over here, and my findings. So I'm going to tell about that next time, and I'm going to make a video of that as well, since I don't know how to approach this subject. I don't know how to approach this subject, and it's kind of terrifying for me, intimidating maybe, because of reasons. See you soon, guys. See you next time. I'll announce it wherever you are. It is interesting, and Happy New Year to you as well, and to everyone who I haven't said it to. Every Thursday at 10. It's kind of this. Oh, not sure if I'm going to do it every Thursday, but I think the Thursday is a good day for it. Have a nice day, evening, rest of your day. Have a nice lunch or breakfast, wherever you are. See you when I see you.